My name is Sarah, and I'm here to share the story of how God performed a miracle in my life. I was born and raised in the Seventh-day Adventist Church alongside my mom, my dad, and my two brothers. We were always brought up to be very close to God. I drifted away from God at an early age. I was in and out of church throughout my whole teenage and early adulthood. At the age of 13, something happened in our family, and we had to go to Brazil to live. I was 13 years old. I could say I was out of the church, the way I lived my life, the way I thought. And going to Brazil was a big impact in my life. When I was in Brazil, I was unable to adjust, and I decided after my 14th birthday that I wanted to come back to the U.S. to live with an aunt that I have here. My parents pleaded with me not to leave, but I made the choice to leave. And I came here, I lived with my aunt. At the age of 16, I met my first boyfriend. And by the time I was 16 and a half, 17, I began to sleep over his house and pretty much live with him. At 17, I became pregnant. Although it was very disappointing to my family, my mom didn't abandon me. She was there by my side. Far away, but by me. She tried very much to come to the U.S. to be with me. During that time that she was getting her papers, I received a call one day after coming home from school. I was already pregnant, about 3 months, and my boyfriend's mom told me that my mom passed away in Brazil. At that moment that she told me that, I forgot completely that I was pregnant. I didn't think of anything else but the fact that this lady just told me that my mom passed away. I remember running into the street desperately, screaming, crying. I didn't know what to do with myself. I ran to my aunt's house that lived in the same neighborhood and confirmed with my father that my mom had passed away. After that, I became very angry with God, with my situation. I couldn't understand why he took my mom away at such a sudden time, at the time that I felt I needed her most. And I completely left the church. I didn't want to know anything about God, anything about religion, anything about the people from the church. I drifted away completely. About 2 months after my mom's death, I went into preterm labor. I went to a hospital, and they checked me through the ultrasound machine. They told me everything was okay. They sent me back home. That night, I began to feel contractions, and I told myself, I'm not going back to the same hospital. I'm gonna go to another hospital and see what's going on. When I got to the second hospital, and they checked me, they confirmed that I was 6 centimeters dilated, and I was 6 months pregnant. I also had developed an infection that carried on to the baby. I had to make a decision at that point to deliver the baby. I went into full labor, and I delivered a baby girl, but she didn't survive past a minute. I held her, I kissed her, and I had to let her go. So, at this point, I had lost my mom and a baby girl. At this point, I had lost my mother and my daughter. I continued to stay with my boyfriend at the time. Although during that weakest point of my life, he wasn't any form of support to me. But I was so depressed, hopeless, that I continued the relationship. I became very close to his mother, and likewise herself to me. We created a very nice bond, and she helped me throughout that time. And one day we went to see her doctor, and she was fine. And my boyfriend at the time dropped us off back at the house. I stayed with her. She went to her room. She was watching TV, and I began to clean in the house, and I had the vacuum on, so I couldn't hear anything. At that time, his sister came home, and she came up to me, and she's like, "Sarah, I'm trying to wake up my mom, and she doesn't wake up." And I said, "Oh, well, she's probably tired, she's sleeping, just, let her be." And she's like, "No, Sarah, I'm shaking her. She's not waking up." I went into her room. She was face down on her bed. At that point, every negative emotion came into mind. I called 911, and I called my aunt that lives in the neighborhood. And my aunt arrived first, and when she saw her, she looked at me and said, "Sarah, I think she's gone." Either way, she began to do CPR. I called my boyfriend, and he worked nearby. He got there in a matter of 3 minutes. The ambulance arrived. They did everything they could. They took her. They didn't pronounce her dead at that time. Took her to the hospital. We followed, and they allowed my boyfriend and his dad to go into the hospital room, and they confirmed that she had passed away. So in 8 months, 3 people were gone. I would have to say that at that time, I felt that nothing worse could happen. I felt alone, hopeless. I didn't have God by my side because I didn't allow him to be by my side. I had pushed him away. I didn't know where to run. So I ran to drugs, alcohol. I partied. And that's how I lived my life up until I got pregnant with my son.